Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Recovery Classroom. My name is Drew. I'm an alcoholic. Yes, I just said that. I'm an alcoholic. But today, by the grace of God, I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I couldn't be any more grateful. We want to welcome you to this platform regardless of what your addiction may be. You're absolutely 100% unequivocally welcome here. We support your pathway, all pathways, and whatever that may look like. We don't care. We're just here to help. And we want to make sure that it works for you. Last night's CrossTalk meeting was fire, absolute fire. Eric and I were looking. We tied our biggest turnout. Last night we tied with another evening that we had our largest turnout. So it was incredible. But beyond all that, just the shares, just the topics that came in. My desk is covered with them today, by the way. That came in and listened to everybody. But most importantly, seeing everyone engaged. Wow, it was incredible. So if you've never been to an in-person CrossTalk meeting, get to one. Just check it out. I assure you, I have a pretty good idea that you're going to love it, and it could just change your life. So check it out. Anyway, some of the topics that did come in that we weren't able to get to. I was looking through them this morning, and the first one that jumped out at me is, what do you most enjoy about your recovery? And man, I thought about that, and the first thing that came to my mind when I read that question was, I love not waking up going, shit, what did I do last night? Or what did I say? Or who did I piss off? Or who did I embarrass? How did I embarrass? I don't have that guilt, shame, and remorse whenever I wake up in the mornings. I remember a time when I would, when I was drinking, I would wake up and my first thought was, I've come to, what time does the liquor store open? Is the liquor store open? Because I'm going to go drink myself back into oblivion until I pass out again. And I did that because, I just felt like I had to live. I had to still consume oxygen from this planet. Today I look at things now. When I wake up, I get to live rather than I have to live. I get to experience things, the ups and downs, the full emotional spectrum. I shared the other night about in the Tuesday night crosstalk, how whenever we get sober, there's an implied responsibility, implied acceptance of responsibility that sure we're going to get our emotions, but we're going to get good and bad emotions, right? That's implied that we take on that responsibility whenever we decide to get sober. And today, as I just said earlier, I'm grateful that I get to experience those emotions. I'm grateful that I get to experience the good times, I get to experience the bad times. But I get to feel again. I get to feel those feelings, and I get to process and navigate that labyrinth of emotions. Believe it or not, I enjoy that because I remember for many years I didn't feel anything at all. Matter of fact, when I started feeling things, I wanted to go drink to numb those feelings. And so that's first and foremost, that's the big thing that jumps out at me anyway, as far as what I enjoy most about my recovery. How do you keep motivated in recovery, and what keeps you motivated? So two separate topics, but they go hand in hand. And I was thinking about that. First and foremost, going back to what I enjoy most. I enjoy not waking up hungover. I enjoy not waking up. And so I remember all too well what it was like whenever I did wake up with guilt, shame, and remorse. I remember all too well waking up and my kids are just hanging their heads because dad got too drunk last night, or dad did something stupid, or whatever. So that right there in and of itself, that helps to keep me motivated. In my sobriety. That helps to keep me never forgetting where I came from. Helps to keep me moving as far away from that point as possible. Another thing I do, me personally, is I exercise. I run. I'm a runner, man. I love running. The guys make fun of me for it. They say I've replaced one addiction for another, and maybe so. But I actually think there's some truth to that. But I run, the whole physiological process behind exercise, it really helps me, helps my mood, it helps my thoughts and my brain, so I'm an absolute runner, but I think the most important thing that motivates me is obviously my family, no doubt about it. But my life, me living a sober life is the most important thing in my book. But what motivates me to stay sober all those things I just mentioned, but is whenever I know I see somebody, I meet somebody, and their eyes are always cast down. They have no self-confidence, no self-esteem, no self-value, no self-worth. They don't love themselves. They hate themselves, and that's why they're using drugs or they're using alcohol. I see that. I see it when a person that I meet, they think they are absolutely worthless, and to see what somebody when I meet them and talk to them and see that, and then to see them just a couple weeks later, and you see that gaze being from casting down to looking me in the eye, the chin up, chest out. They start developing that confidence. And one of our friends in the rooms, he says it all the time, you see that light go off in her eyes going, oh shit, I'm starting to get this. I can do this. There is nothing on this planet that can replicate that feeling of whenever you've been talking with someone, you've been working with someone, and you see that light go off in another person's eyes. And they go, I could get... There is nothing at all that can replicate, that can duplicate, that even imitate that feeling at all. There's just something special about it. There's something self-rewarding, maybe. Maybe that's a way to look at it. I when I see that happen with somebody I've been talking to, and they start going, maybe this isn't some bullshit. When I see that. Whew, man, you talk about getting me fired. Last night I was fired up. My God, I was going to have to go run 20 miles last night after that meeting. But that's part of the joy of carrying the message to others is, and I made this comment last night too, we get more out of helping others than what others get from us helping them. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Seeing, knowing that we get to play a very small part in somebody's recovery, helping to turn somebody's life around to where they do start having some self-confidence. They do start feeling valuable. They do start having self-worth and self-esteem and self-respect. Wow, knowing that we played just a very tiny part in that, that's exciting. And even though it's a really tiny part, man, that has big impacts on our lives. And so that's really one of the driving factors for me to stay in recovery, to stay motivated, and that's just so imperative. But then there's this element too, and I was thinking about this last night. My kids, they may grow up and become alcoholics. There's no question. I'm an alcoholic. My family, I think everybody in my family tree are alcoholics. So there's a good chance that my kids could grow up and become alcoholics. And here's the important part. Then this is another thing that keeps me motivated to stay in recovery. If my kids ever become an alcoholic, they know that there's help. They've seen dad. They've been able to watch dad with their own eyes going from that drunk, depressed, worthless state of mind to turning around and being lit on fire. And so if anything, knowing that I am setting the example for my children that should, God forbid, should they ever become an alcoholic or drug addict, they always know there's help. They just have to ask for it. With that being said, I'll let you guys go. Again, thank you guys for coming out last night at the CrossTalk meeting. We have a CrossTalk meeting this Tuesday night. If you've never been to a CrossTalk meeting in person, I encourage you to come on down and check it out. It will be well worth your time, I promise. And also, a quick reminder, we have the CrossTalk Zoom meetings coming up again. We should have an announcement here in the next couple of days, actually. About when we're going to start the Zoom meetings. So stay tuned for that. I want to thank you guys for letting me come in and share 5 to 10 minutes of your day with you. You guys, just as I was talking about, you guys help keep me sober. And I couldn't be any more appreciative. So thank you. And I know my family appreciates it too. If there's a topic you'd like to have discussed, you can feel free to email it to me, drew@recoveryclassroom.org, or drop it in the comments of the Facebook Recovery or the Recovery Classroom Facebook group page. We'll take a look at it and see what we can do. So with that being said, I'll let you guys go. Hope you guys have an absolutely kick-ass Saturday. We'll be talking again real soon. Remember, guys, you can't get drunk if you don't take that first drink.